Good evening from Helsinki. Pasila again. I'm at my favorite table where I've done several of these videos at the Fazer Cafe in Mall of Tripla. And when I set up today, there was these interesting lighting effects, these beams of light that I've not dealt with before while sitting here. So I decided to just play with it because I don't want to move. I'm very comfortable here. And I'm going to be doing a poem by John Berryman. I did one of his dream songs from central Helsinki a couple weeks back. And now I'm going to do Dreamsong 29, which is about psychological terror. It's about paranoia. It's very, very au courant with our society and has been, from John Berryman's days in the 20th century. And he gives a very dramatic, drunk reading of this in a beautiful black and white film shot. I guess he was in Dublin drinking whiskey, and he read some of his favorite dream songs, including this one. And so it's very intimidating to do it if you have that to compare it with, because there's no way you can match, especially someone like Berryman. But I also heard that this poem was used by, I guess there's a TV series called Succession. I pretty much got rid of TV from my house about 6 to 7 years ago and dramatically cut out most TV except to learn other languages like Italian. And so I don't know, but apparently they used parts of this poem as titles for episodes. And so it makes me very curious about that show. I think I have a friend who watched it and was telling me about it, but I don't know much about it. So anyway, I'm going to get right into Dreamsong 29. There sat down once a thing on Henry's heart, so heavy. If he had 100 years and more, and weeping, sleepless, in all them time, Henry could not make good. Starts again always in Henry's ears, a little cough somewhere, an odor, chime. And there is another thing he has in mind, like a grave Sienese face, 1,000 years, would fail to blur the still profiled reproach of, ghastly, with open eyes. He attends, blind. All the bells say, too late. This is not for tears. Thinking. But never did Henry as he thought he did. And anyone and hacks her body up and hide the pieces where they may be found. He knows. He went over everyone, and nobody's missing. Often, he reckons, in the dawn, them up. Nobody is ever missing. So that's a great poem. It kind of, I thought of it weeks ago when I was going to do it earlier, but then I thought of it this week with the weather changes, with the cold November rain, with Halloween coming up, and then doing the Walter de la Mare poem, which is so gorgeous and evocative of these types of feelings, inner psychological terror, the unknown, supernatural, those types of things. And so I thought this was really great time to do the Dreamsong 29. And then I found out that it has a fairly, very recent pop culture reference. It shows you how relevant poetry can be, even if it just is like sitting there, kept alive by a few random people here and there. Still, if it's good enough, if it's powerful enough, it's going to attract other uses. And so I actually thought that was a great thing. And also, I like how it plays on the different manifestations or the different parts of the brain. We live in a time, and we have been for decades, a time of great paranoia because that reptile kind of part of the brain that's concerned with security and survival doesn't have enough stimulus, doesn't have enough reason for being, and so it imagines up things, and so and actually I was just thinking about that. It was like this creating a work of art like this Dreamsong is kind of like taking the material from that segment of the brain and transmuting it to kind of like the third part, the mystical, wild spirit part of the mind, where you're thinking, where you're able to not only solve very, very complicated, difficult problems, but also you're living in the divine. Saints live in this third brain, right? And so it's kind of like flipping back and forth, and you're just wondering how this character holds it all together. but that's what we are. We are this combination of so many different stories, characters, elements, experiences, influences, and it can turn on such subtleties. And sometimes we don't even know when we're flipping from one mode of thinking and feeling and sensing and observing into the other. And I definitely have experienced that when you sit with yourself, when you sit with, like they call it meditazione, right? Meditation, make it a bigger, like more woo-woo word, but it's really just sitting. Like the initial sense of it is just sitting and recognizing the chaos of the brain. And I think this poem really hits on the chaos of the brain. I'm going to do it again because I didn't think I did a fantastic job the first time. So we're going to try to do a little bit better. Dreamsong 29, John Berryman. There sat down then, once, a thing on Henry's heart, so heavy. If he had 100 years, and more, and weeping, sleepless, in all them time, Henry could not make good. Starts again always in Henry's ears, the little cough somewhere, an odor, a chime. And there is another thing he has in mind, like a grave Sienese face, 1,000 years, would fail to blur the still profiled reproach of, ghostly, with open eyes, he attends blind. All the bells say, too late. This is not for tears. Thinking. But never did Henry, as he thought he did, end anyone and hacks her body up and hide the pieces where they may be found. He knows. He went over everyone. And nobody's missing. Often, he reckons, in the dawn, them up. Nobody is ever missing. So, as I was reading that the second time, it brought up kind of my initial thoughts on reading this poem several years ago. I think I mentioned that in the video. We would listen to recordings, my friend and I, over 20 years ago, University of Washington Development Department. We took many coffee breaks and we listened to poetry and got our work done. And we listened to Berryman reading the Dreamsongs over several afternoons. It's one of the most memorable times from my career in development. And brings up, and as I said, like the reptile brain, the fight or flight, the survival, the security, not concerned with ethereal, high-minded things. But it also that intense paranoia and just that feeling that we've all had of thinking you did something that you didn't do. And just the way he says that he knows he went over everyone, and so he has to keep going over everyone, make sure he didn't hack someone up. Well, you can also take that on a different level, but that is a mark of our time in this realm, is that part of the brain doesn't have enough doesn't have enough material to be concerned with, and so it'll make things up. And I think that poem calls that out and makes you think back on time that you just kind of wasted senselessly, thinking if you did or didn't do something. And I actually touched on this in one of my other recent videos, where I was talking about a missed appointment or standing someone up. And sometimes if you're not aligned and in tune with yourself, your physical self, and your spiritual self, those things will happen. And we can get caught up in these winds that take us away from what we need to focus on. But beautiful poem, beautiful fall, autumnal, psychological terror, Halloween. So I hope you enjoyed, and tell me if you've watched this Succession, and if the dream songs somehow relate to that series. Anyway, have a wonderful day wherever you are, and we'll talk again soon.